Yeah, I got a stupid dice game. Whatever. That's not the focus of the deck. This deck list video is for though, because it's obviously a deck list. So yeah, haven't done a video for a while here, and I'm gonna be honest, it's because a couple of the I actually have been to every single tournament that I sort of had over the last week. I had a Sunday local last week, I had Thursday locals, and then I also had my first ever appearance at a regional yesterday. Didn't do reports for any of them because I was just kind of like I was really salty about last Sunday's local because I went once again going from 3-0 after 3 rounds to going 3-2 and falling out, and then I went 2-2 in the Thursday regional with the Thursday local with Raccoons, and then dropped off to 5 rounds using the same deck in the regional. So yeah, dropped up to 5 rounds, 5 out of 7 rounds there. Results weren't particularly that great. I mean, I should have at least done the one for the BA, but that couldn't be bothered just doing another BA deck. And I'm over the deck now as well. I'm going to be offloading the bits and pieces if I possibly can. I managed to offload one of the Dantes at the regional yesterday really easy. Hopefully I can get the other 2 off my hands as quickly as possible. I think someone was playing Burning Abyss and had to bloody borrow Dante, so I'll see if I could be like, yeah, you want to trade for these or some shit. But Burning Abyss is not the focus of today's decklist video, nor is Raccoons. Instead, it's Heroes, which I took today, and managed to top 8 at local for the first time in... Actually, was top cut for the first time since the previous Thursday when I did the BA. So I'll just go through the list here. Standard triple Shadow Mist, of course. This one's a bit bloody silly. Then have the 2 Bubble Man. Bubble Man's just been so freaking brilliant at 2 for me. Like this will never ever go to 3 because it just clogs far too much. I've always been pretty content with having the 2. Then have the 1 Alias. I'm a bit on the fence about this one. I'm thinking about maybe putting it back up to 2, but because I don't really see it that often. I think my beef with whether or not I want to run 1 or 2 is just how badly I want to get Evidenko Circa, because this is pretty much the only main deck monster that can do that. Of course, like, assuming that they've got something like a Vanities or nothing like Vanities. I mean, I could always just make Exceed play with Goblinberg or something like that. So that's always a possibility, but I don't know. I'm just still sort of thinking about that a bit. The 1 Wild Heart. Always got to have Wild Heart. 2 Goblinberg. I was considering putting this up to 3 for a time. It might not have been such a bad idea, because I believe I think I lost like 1 game because I saw no monsters. But 1 extra monster may not have actually mattered, especially if it was a Goblinberg. Then the 2 Summoner Monk, which I did not see anywhere near as often as I would have liked. I think I saw it maybe once or twice throughout the whole event. So that was a bit of an odd one. Then for the spells, the standard 3 copies of Mask Change, and I know I said I would cut this and not run it like almost ever again, but I actually found Mask Change 2 to be used. I actually did get the, I think I did get the Mask Change 2 second off once, but for the most part I usually just sided it out. It was a really easy side out. So and it's getting to that point where Mask Change 2nd is actually starting to become just useful enough for me to run it, but at the same time I can also drop it easily. So I felt like it'll be useful just to get some kind of Mask Change to hand game 1, but then its purpose will be pretty much served, and then I can easily side it out for game 2 and 3. Search Power, 3 Rotor, and on this occasion the 1 Equal, which I didn't really see that often. I did actually see it once, and the stupid part is I actually wanted to see a Rotor and not the Equal. The Equal would not have actually helped me because like the Rotor would have been the preferred option to get the Goblinberg to hand. So And once again, for the most part, it was just something that I would side out, no issues whatsoever. So that was a thing. Then maxed out on a Hero Lives, which was pretty useful. I would only really ever see one copy of this at a time. And unless I had some, and for the most part, I did actually play it. I played it in both games in my round 5 matchup, and it unfortunately did actually, like, the lack of life points kind of did screw me over there in that matchup. However, I did actually win my round 1 matchup, game 1, I actually won because my brick hand actually turned into an OTK just before top decking a Hero Lives, so it's still very useful. I usually side one out, but it really depends. Like, if I was going first, then I would try to have 3 of them in there just so I had maximum chance of getting the Dark Claw play off. But otherwise, I would usually side one out. Then at the 2 Mass Charge, was it was actually really useful for the most time. Round 1, game 1, I did actually draw it brick. I opened with it in a brick hand, but was then able to, but the Hero Lives then just made it instantaneously live, and I was able to put the OTK to play. Then cut down to 2 Miracle Fusion, because Miracle Fusion's not really, it's really not the centerpiece of the deck anymore. It is still a really good top deck, but Miracle Fusion is slowly becoming less and less of a thing that people play. Like, some of the top placed hero decks, I think last week or the week before, a couple of them actually cut Miracle Fusion straight out of the deck entirely, and the OCG builds as well that top, they don't run Miracle Fusion at all, and in fact they have access to Blazeman, so they usually just run the 1 poly in the deck, so they can just go Blazeman, add poly. So Miracle Fusion is slowly becoming less and less of a thing. I still like it because you can go Absolute Zero and then make Acid, or if you need a Beat Stick, you can go Shining, and those are the 2 options that I have. I'm probably going to go up to, I'm probably going to put, I'll go through that in the extra deck. I'm not going to explain that now. I'm just going to get through the rest of the main deck, and there's the 3 MSTs, just standard. Snatch Steal, Toxic for the game, get the fuck out of here. Soul Charge, which this thing was pretty bloody useless. This I'm almost certainly going to cut. Raigeki, not too bad, but yeah, Soul Charge sucks. I'm going to just be right up the, I'm just going to be right on us there. And then for the trap cards, 3 Trap Stun, which was pretty useful on a couple of occasions. 3 Cool Haunted, this was actually pretty nice as well. And the 2 Vanities, which actually caused some pretty good disruption. I'm starting to work out how it needs to be played. At least in this deck in particular. I mean, I may have to. I mean, if I ever give Satellar Knights a crack, I mean, I've got the core. I can easily put it back together, but I'm not going to do that for a while. If I wanted to do that, I could, give it a go. Like, try to work on that, but like, I'm starting to pick up on how useful it is. I like it as well with Trap Stun, and this is the reason I like Trap Stun over Royal Decree, is that you can just flip a Trap Stun, turn your Vanities off, do your stupid play, and then once the turn ends, Vanity switches back on, and so you've got a board, your opponent doesn't, and short of like a Raigeki or a Snatch Steal or something like that, they're going to lose. Because they just have no freaking option. Their only other option would be like, I mean, unless they're freaking Yosenjus, because Yosenjus are a bit silly. Yosenjus are actually kind of fun. I actually bought some Secret Forces boosters after I got knocked out of the top 8, and I pulled a Karma 1 and a Karma 2, both of which I already had a playset of, but no Karma 3s, which sucked. Extra deck, maxed out on Dark Laws now, because this thing is literally just the heart and soul of the deck. That being said, I didn't need a third one, because most of the time I would drop one. I think maybe once I dropped a second one. I'll be honest, 3 I feel is a bit superfluous, so I will probably cut this for the Escuridao, just because I don't think 3 is really that necessary. Then the 2 copies of Acid. Again, double Acid is... The thing with Acid is, if you're going to go for an Acid, then that means you're probably going to push for game anyway, just after you've cleared your opponent's back row. So you don't really need the second one. And for the most part, I never actually had a mask change after I went for Acid. After I went for Acid, I would either win the game with just a whole bunch of damage push, or lose to like Raigeki or a Snatch Steal or something like that. Then have the M-Hero Dian, really good as well. Got it off a couple of times. Then the Master Hero Koga, which I never actually saw because I had no lights to work with, so Koga's just sort of very situational, because I never saw Alias. I could have easily added it from time to time, but it was either Bubble Man or Shadow Mist, and on the from time to time Wild Heart. I then only have the 2 Miracle Fusion targets in the form of the Shining and Absolute Zero. I actually thought that I'd screwed myself out of a Miracle Fusion play, because I had an opportunity to possibly make Gaia and push for a lot of damage, but then I realized it was actually a better option to make the Lavalval Chain instead of the Aero Champion Excalibur, and then I was able to make play into AZ and then turn it into an Acid to get the last bit of damage in and win that first game. That was the first game of the first round. Then for Xyz, I have the one Excalibur, which I saw a couple of times. Lavalval Chain I saw, I think, once. Once. Exciton did not see. Blade Armor, I saw Blade Armor once. I saw Castell once, but it got torrentialed. And I actually saw Crazy Box as well, once or twice. I saw it against Clifford when they had Skill Drain, and then I also dropped it against Nekroz when they had Unicore on the board. But in the case of the Nekroz matchup, they were just Decisive Armor, and so I was saddened by this. But it is what it is. I'm starting to learn exactly what the hell it is that they do. The only thing that depressed me about my Nekroz matchups is because... actually, I'll go through that in the tournament report. Now, for the side deck, starting off with some spicy tech that I used to run in my older hero decks, and that would be the 2 copies of Silver Sentinel. This is a thing, we haven't seen it on this channel for a while, although I have listed off, I have done some decklist videos where this has been in the side deck. I'll just refresh the people's memory on it. You can set it in your back row, kind of like an artifact, and if it's destroyed by your opponent's card effect and sent to the grave, during the end phase, it targets an opponent's card, comes back from the graveyard, and then blows that up. The awesome thing about this is that, if I was to run Mask Change 2 more often, Mask Change 2 would definitely help with this, because it is Earth. Plus, it's actually searchable. It's a searchable, basically level 4 artifact, for the most part. And so I decided that I figured that this is a pretty good little thing just to be just to punish players that just go randomly blind MSTing. I saw it once, I set it, and it never got hit. So it's a bit of a hit and miss sort of thing. I'll keep giving it a bit of a go, but eventually if it doesn't work out, then I'll just cut it. Then have the 2 Max C, which I sided in against, I think, Nekroz. So also sided in against the Tellers. But the one time I sided against the Tellers, they'd already won. Twister, never saw it, which depressed me. 2 Dark Hole, last minute change. I cut the Spell Shattering Arrows for this. I did actually get a Cliffort matchup, but that was a really weird Cliffort matchup. I'll explain that in the tournament report. But I sided these in, and I never saw them at all. It was really stupid. Then had the 1 Bottomless, which I think I may have sided in against 1 matchup, but never saw it. 3rd Vanities, I'm going to main this. I'm going to cut the Soul Charge and main this 3rd Vanities. Just for the first turn, sort of if I'm going to go first, just have everything out possible. And this just maximizes my chances of opening something like the Masked Hero play, like a Mask Change and stuff like that. Mask Change with the Shadow Mist and stuff like that, plus a Emptiness and a Trap Stun. So then I can just basically go get the Dark Law on the board, flip the Emptiness, and then if I have a big play next turn, I just trap stun my own Emptiness. So that's a nice little thing to have. 2 Mind Drain, side this in for the Nekroz. I saw it a grand total of once in my top 8 matchup. It was immediately MST'd. So, shit. Against my Swiss Nekroz match, I actually saw this a couple of times. On both occasions, I sealed off his Kaleidoscope, which was quite nice to have. And then lastly, Fairy Winds, which I cited for the Cliffort matchup, but never saw them. The weird Cliffort matchup, which I will go ahead and explain. It was my 4th round in the tournament report. So, yeah, that's it for this deck. Obviously, I mean, I've pointed out at least one change. There might be a couple other changes that will be in store for the next one, which I'm probably going to run this next Sunday, because I've pretty much kind of booked Shadows in for this Thursday. So, that's it for the deck list. See you for the tournament report.